In this video we will discuss the chapter 1 of NCERT Class 6 History, that is our past 1. Now as you can see on the screen, look at the river Narmada on the map. Okay, I have highlighted here Narmada river. So this was the place where people used to live along the banks of this river for thousands of the years. Some of the earliest people who lived here were called gatherers, and they were the people who collected their food. They had the vast knowledge of their plants and the nearby forest places where they used to live, and they collected the forest produce for their food. They also hunted animals, hence they were called gatherers and hunters. So always remember, the first hunters and gatherers, they used to live near the Narmada river. Now, now we will discuss about the origin of the agricultural crops, that is how the agriculture began in the world, like wheat, barley, that is also called jaw in Hindi, and rice, about these crops. As you can see on the figure, now if you locate the Suleiman and Kirtar hills, that is in the northwest, okay, of the subcontinent map, as you can see, these are the areas where women and men first began to grow crops such as wheat and barley about 8000 years ago. So this is the place where the beginning of the agriculture happened. People also began rearing animals like sheep, goat and cattle, and they lived in villages. Agriculture, however, also developed in other areas, like it is shown in the map Garo Hills, okay, in the northeast, and Vindhyas in the central India. Now you should always remember that the place where rice was first grown, these are the areas that lie to the north of the Vindhyas in the central India. Now, having covered about the agricultural crops, now we will discuss about the origin of the ancient cities, some of the ancient cities of our present day. Now, look at the river Indus and its tributaries here on the map. Okay, what are tributaries? Let me remind you. Tributaries are, these are small rivers that flow into a larger river that join the stream of the main river. So about around 4700 years ago, some of the earliest cities, they flourished on the banks of Indus rivers and their tributaries. And later, about 2500 years ago, the other cities also developed on the banks of Ganga and its tributaries. You can see here I have highlighted the Ganga and its tributaries. Now if you look at the Ganga and its tributary Son river is shown here. Okay, so the area along these rivers was also known as Magad, which is now currently in the state of Bihar, and its rulers were very powerful and they had set up a very large kingdom called Magad. So you should remember these small points. Okay, now having learnt about the origin of agriculture and ancient cities, now we will learn about some new terms which will help in finding about the details of the historical happenings. First, let us learn about what are manuscripts. Okay, so these are the books basically written by hand, okay, in the ancient past, and they help in finding out about the past subjects like religious beliefs and practices, the lives of kingdoms, and medicine and science. Now you should remember, this is an important point, that these were usually written on palm leaf. I have shown the picture of palm leaf here, and on the specially prepared bark of a tree known as the birch. Okay, here is the picture of bark of a tree that is grown in the Himalayas. Okay, and the language used in these manuscripts, these were Sanskrit or Prakrit or Tamil. So this is an important point you should remember. Prakrit was the language which was used by the ordinary people, and here is an image showing the how the manuscripts used to look. If you look at the figure, okay, this was the kind of manuscript. Now second are inscriptions. So what are inscriptions? These are basically written on a hard surface such as stone or a metal, and the writings on this surface, they used to contain either the king's orders, okay, or record of battles and victories. The inscriptions, they used to contain both scripts and languages, and the process of decoding them is called decipherment. So there is an important difference between inscription and manuscript, that manuscript was written on leaves or bark of a tree, but inscription was inscripted on the hard surface like stone or metal. Now, what is archaeology? So we have learnt about manuscripts and inscriptions. Now there are also other things, other objects like buildings, okay, you have paintings and sculptures. So the study of those objects is called archaeology, and those people who study these objects, they are called archaeologists. They also explore and excavate to find tools, weapons, pots, ornaments, and coins. The picture is shows in the screen shows the pot. Okay, left side is the pot and the ancient some of the ancient coins that were found. Now we will learn about the classification of dates. This is an important slide. Okay, if you have heard about classification like AD 2020, if it is written, what does this means? Basically, in all these nomenclature, we take the reference year. The reference year is taken as the year of the birth of Jesus Christ. Okay, so if you find AD 2020, that means 2020 years after the birth of Christ. And similarly, if you find written like 1000 BC, that means all the dates before the birth of Christ. So 1000 years before the birth of Christ. Now in these days we are using the Christian era, hence you will find in nomenclature something like this, somewhere written common era and before common era. So there is no need to confuse in that. Common era is simply same as AD, and before common era is simply same as BC. Now we can solve these sample NCERT questions based on our learnings. If you are given to match the following, okay, Narmada Valley, we have already learned that Narmada Valley was the first place where the hunting and gathering began. Magad, we have learned it was the first big kingdom, okay. Garo Hills, we have learnt in the agricultural aspect that some of the areas where agriculture developed was Garo Hills. What were the Indus and tributaries? We have learned that the first cities that developed 4700 years ago were Indus and its tributaries. And what was the significance of Ganga Valley? It was the place where cities developed about 2500 years ago. Now list one major difference between manuscripts and inscriptions. We have learnt manuscript is written on a palm tree or bark of a tree, whereas inscription is written on a very hard surface like stone or metal.